It's one of the strangest feelings in the world, looking at someone you love and realizing that something shifted. Maybe their words don't sound the same, or their silences feel heavier than before. You remember how easy it used to be, the laughter, the comfort, the sense that you both belong to the same rhythm. But now, it's like the melody changed and you're still trying to catch up. The Stoics would say this discomfort isn't just about the other person, it's about our struggle to face change itself. Because when someone close to us transforms, it's not only they who change, it's our world that moves beneath our feet. The Stoics lived in times of war, loss, and uncertainty, yet they practiced emotional steadiness not through denial but through understanding. They believed that every relationship is a kind of shared dance between two evolving souls. Seneca once wrote, "No man steps in the same river twice, for the river is ever flowing, and so is he." They saw love as something living, something that must adapt as people grow. When we cling to the version of someone who no longer exists, we suffer, not because love has died, but because we refuse to meet it where it now stands. For them, wisdom wasn't about keeping things the same. It was about learning how to love through change. Maybe the real challenge isn't that the person you love has changed. Maybe it's that you haven't yet learned how to meet them again. So the question becomes, how can we reconnect with both ourselves and the person we once felt so close to without falling into resentment or nostalgia? What would the Stoics, with all their calm clarity and deep humanity, teach us about finding our way back, not just to love, but to our own centered selves? If this reflection resonated with you, don't just scroll past. Take a moment to share what came up for you. Have you ever noticed change in someone you love, or even in yourself? Drop your thoughts in there, even in yourself. Drop comments. Honest stories spark the best conversations. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Honest stories spark the best. And if you found this insight meaningful, hit like and subscribe so we can keep exploring these meaningful. Hit like and subscribe moments of life, love, and subscribe so we can keep exploring self-understanding together. These moments of life, love, every click of and self-understanding together isn't just a number, it's a weather. Every way of saying, I want to grow isn't just a number, it's a I want to understand, I want to be better. Way of saying, I want to grow, I want to understand, I want to be better. Number 1. Talk to him without judgment or blame. When someone you care about changes, the instinct is often to react first and listen later. We jump to conclusions, point fingers, and let frustration spill out. The Stoics, however, believed that meaningful dialogue begins with a calm and open mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" In other words, before speaking, we should pause, reflect, and recognize our own imperfections. Approaching conversation without judgment is not weakness, it's strength, because it creates space for understanding instead of conflict. Picture a couple sitting across from each other at the kitchen table. One partner has withdrawn, the other feels hurt and confused. Instead of accusing or cataloging grievances, the Stoic approach is to speak from curiosity and care. "I notice we've grown distant lately. Can we talk about what's happening for you?" It's simple, but it disarms tension. By removing blame, we invite honesty. We stop trying to make the other person wrong and start trying to understand the current reality of who they are today, not who we remember them to be. Stoicism teaches that the quality of our relationships reflects the quality of our attention. Seneca once said, "Every man is his own master and guardian. He should first learn to command himself." Before trying to change someone else, we must cultivate patience, presence, and clarity within ourselves. When we speak without judgment, we model the kind of rational, steady communication that encourages trust. It reminds the other person that we see them as capable, evolving, and worthy, not as a project to fix. At its core, this approach is about meeting love where it is now, rather than where we wish it would be. Conversation without blame creates a bridge instead of a wall. By talking calmly, listening intently, and holding space for both perspectives, we begin to reconnect. It's not about forcing the person to revert to who they were, but about finding harmony in the present. In Stoic terms, it's the art of cultivating understanding and compassion, the very soil from which trust and closeness grow again. Number 2. Remind him of good memories. Sometimes, the best way to reconnect isn't by arguing or pointing out what's wrong, but by gently recalling the moments that once made your bond feel effortless. The Stoics believed that our memories are powerful tools, shaping how we interpret the present. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Gratitude, even for the simplest shared experiences, can shift attention from frustration to connection. Reminding someone of those moments doesn't erase change, but it invites warmth, recognition, and a shared sense of history. Think of a couple who hasn't laughed together in months. Instead of dwelling on distance, one partner might say, "Remember that night we got caught in the rain and ended up dancing in the street?" Suddenly, the memory brings a spark, a shared smile, a sense of us. Stoicism teaches that reflection is not just for the mind. It can be applied to relationships. When we intentionally revisit positive memories, we create a gentle bridge from the past to the present, allowing affection and trust to bloom again. The Stoics often emphasized perspective, seeing events not as fixed, but as part of a larger narrative. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." By recalling meaningful memories, we remind ourselves and our partner of the life we built together, the small joys we've shared, and the resilience we've shown. These moments serve as anchors, reminding both of you that, despite changes, the core connection remains. Ultimately, reminding him of good memories is more than nostalgia. It's a subtle Stoic practice in emotional alignment. It's about focusing attention on what nurtures the relationship rather than what divides it. By reflecting together on laughter, kindness, and shared victories, you help each other reconnect with the heart of the bond, not the exact person from the past, but a deeper, more present version of both of you. In this way, the past becomes a guidepost, showing that change doesn't have to mean loss. It can mean rediscovery. Number 3. Give him the freedom to be himself. One of the most subtle ways we push someone away is by trying to mold them back into the person we remember. The Stoics understood that every human is constantly evolving, and that clinging to an old version of someone creates tension and resentment. Epictetus once wrote, "Freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired, but by controlling the desire." In relationships, this means learning to release the desire for someone to fit a fixed image and instead embracing the person in front of you. True connection begins when we allow others the space to grow, even if that growth surprises or unsettles us. Think of a couple where one partner has taken up new hobbies or interests. Instead of complaining or trying to pull him back to old routines, the other encourages him to explore these passions. Maybe it's a late-night painting session, a new running club, or simply quiet time for reflection. By giving him the freedom to be himself, the relationship shifts from restriction to curiosity. The Stoics would argue that this creates mutual respect, because respect flourishes when each person feels seen for who they truly are, not just for who they used to be. Stoicism often emphasizes the harmony between inner values and outward actions. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself. So keep yourself simple, good, pure, serious, unpretentious, a friend of justice, God-fearing, kind, full of affection, strong for your proper work. The lesson here for relationships is clear. When we cultivate our own virtues and extend space for others to do the same, jealousy, control, and resentment naturally fade. Freedom is not detachment. It's a choice to honor individuality while remaining connected. Ultimately, giving him the freedom to be himself is a practice in trust and patience. It's about understanding that love doesn't mean owning someone. It means witnessing their evolution and supporting it. By stepping back from expectation and embracing his journey, you allow the relationship to breathe and thrive. In Stoic terms, it's a reminder that love flourishes not in chains, but in the open space where two people can be fully and authentically themselves. Number 4. Show affection with small actions. Affection isn't always about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. Often, it's the little things that make the deepest impact. The Stoics recognized that consistent, mindful attention to daily actions shapes both character and relationships. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." In love, this principle applies beautifully. Small, thoughtful gestures carry far more weight than extravagant promises because they show presence, care, and attention in the moment. Think of a couple where one partner has grown distant, not because of a lack of love, but because life has pulled them apart. Bringing back closeness doesn't require a grand trip or a speech. It might be making their morning coffee, leaving a short note, or sharing a genuine smile at the end of the day. Each act becomes a gentle reminder that the bond still exists. The Stoics would see these actions as exercises in virtue, kindness, patience, and attentiveness, and they believe that living virtuously strengthens both the individual and the relationships around them. Marcus Aurelius emphasized presence and consistency. Don't hanker after what you don't have. Instead, fix your attentions on the finest and best that you have, and imagine how much you would long for these if they weren't in your possession. Applying this in love means noticing and nurturing the ordinary moments that might otherwise be overlooked. When we show small acts of affection, we cultivate gratitude, warmth, and recognition, not just in the other person, but within ourselves. It's a quiet way of saying, "I see you, I care, you matter." Ultimately, showing affection through small actions is a Stoic practice of mindfulness and intentionality. It teaches that love isn't about grandiose moments, but about steady, everyday attention. Each small gesture reconnects hearts, reminding both partners that change doesn't erase care. In Stoic terms, these moments of conscious affection are the threads that sew closeness back into the fabric of a relationship, making it stronger, warmer, and more resilient, one deliberate act at a time. Number 5. Apologize for your mistakes. One of the most powerful ways to rebuild closeness is simply to admit when we're wrong. Apologizing doesn't weaken love, it strengthens it. The Stoics believed that humility and self-awareness are essential virtues. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears." In relationships, this means taking responsibility for our own actions rather than letting pride create distance. A sincere apology can cut through months of tension faster than any argument or explanation. Imagine a partner who has hurt the other, maybe through words, neglect, or carelessness. Instead of making excuses, acknowledging the mistake openly, "I was wrong, and I'm sorry," can open the door to understanding and repair. The Stoics called this practice prosos, or mindful attention to one's own behavior. It's about observing your role in the relationship with clarity and honesty, rather than focusing solely on the other person's shortcomings. Marcus Aurelius emphasized personal responsibility. If someone does wrong, it is because of ignorance, But it is up to you to act with wisdom. Applying this insight in love means recognizing how our actions or words may have caused harm and taking deliberate steps to correct them. Apologizing is not just about making the other person feel better. It is also a practice in virtue, cultivating integrity, patience, and self-reflection. Small acknowledgments of wrongdoing often ripple outward, restoring trust and creating space for genuine connection. Ultimately, apologizing is a Stoic exercise in aligning our actions with our values. It's a reminder that growth and closeness are ongoing efforts, not static achievements. When we take responsibility for our mistakes, we communicate respect for both ourselves and the person we love. In this way, humility and honesty become tools to bridge change and reconnect hearts, showing that love, even after shifts and struggles, can remain strong, grounded, and deeply human. If you've stayed with me until the end, it shows you care about love, about understanding, and about nurturing the relationships that matter most. Change is natural, and people we love may grow in ways we don't always expect. But Stoicism reminds us that the heart of connection lies in presence, patience, and mindful action. Every conversation without blame, every shared memory, every small act of affection, every space we give, and every sincere apology, these are the threads that weave closeness back into a relationship. Take these ideas slowly, practice them intentionally, and notice how both you and the person you love begin to rediscover each other. Because at the end of the day, love isn't about returning to the past, it's about meeting each other fully, here and now.